Right. Um, I'm streaming from my shitty laptop, so I'm not sure if it's actually working. But supposing it is working, actually I can check on my phone. This is really scuffed, I know, but we're gonna make it work, alright? See if the stream is up. Oh, first time listening to Arca Kick 1. There it is. First time listening to Arca Kick 1. There's quite a delay, so I just have to make sure this is working. It's working. Alright. I'll probably get like 0 views, and I can't even see chat. I have to work out how I can make chat visible. I might immigrate over to Twitch if it helps, but for now, I want to do this on YouTube because that's where I have the most action. Let's listen to this album. I actually recently bought Kick 5 on CD for like $20. Just on a whim, and I haven't even heard it. So I think I'll give this a listen first. This is the first album in the five Kick series. So I'm pretty excited. Let's check out these tracks. I will just check actually if the sound will come through. See how this sounds real quick. Okay, so now I'm just gonna talk over it. Alright. Seems to be balanced enough. I'm gonna watch this, but just without. So I'm just gonna watch it on my phone, so I have chat up here. Here we go. We're getting shit started. We're gonna start off with the first track. Non-binary. It's got 3 million plays, so it's actually, out of all the tracks on this album, it's not played that much, considering it's the opener. But let's jump into it. Oh shit. Seems pretty minimal. I love the mixing. Oh shit. It's not who you think you're dealing with. No. Cause you're not dealing with. There's no deal. It's just real on my side. Go ahead, speak for yourself. Go ahead, speak for yourself. Shit. Real industrial, isn't it? Let's get comfy. Come on. Come on. First track, non-binary. Um, I think it's a pretty good start. It kind of reminds me of Machine Gun by, no, whatever it's called, by Portishead. Kind of reminds me of some old Björk stuff and a bit of like a real, um, real Latin influence. I think arca's from Venezuela or Colombia, so that makes sense. I love the vocal work. I love the minimalism, and I love the mixing. So, pretty strong start. Let's jump into the next track, Time, which has about twice as many streams. Let's see. I should turn some lights on. Hold on. It's really dark in here. That's an improvement, I reckon. Let's see how it looks on the replay. Beautiful. And this track's a lot more dream pop. I got some chocolate freckles here. Alright, initial thoughts on this track. I definitely prefer it over the opener. I love how it's a lot more dreamy and how it's a lot more cloudy. And I'm also loving the much more subtle vocal performance on this track. I think it has quite a way of drawing you in and holds up pretty well over the duration. I think overall this is an improvement on that first track, and I enjoy it quite a lot. So let's move on to the third track, Mequetref. Mequetref. Oh shit. Oh look who's on track 6. It's our girl. All right. Um, we have ads. Shield your ears. I, sh- I should definitely get premium, shouldn't I? Yeah, like I need premium. Um, I'll give my thoughts on this track in just a sec after I skip these fucking ads. Alright, my initial thoughts is that this track is just as good as Time, and that you know I'm getting like a really strong Adventure Time sound out of this one. Like it just reminds me of Adventure Time so much. I don't know why I thought of that, but it does. And I specifically like the more electronic side of this track. I think there are some interesting concepts here, um, and they pan out pretty well over the course of the song. I'm going to say that this one is on par with Time, just about. Um, so we off to a great start. I'm really enjoying this so far. Let's listen to Requi. Yes, I'll play this one. Alright, this one is interesting. So we're definitely seeing the more industrial, glitchy side of the album, and I think I love it. I love the production and the mixing, as I did on the past few tracks, but I think what really shines through here is just creativity. I think that this is going to be incredibly hard for me to forget. I see it being a highlight of this album, and I'm very impressed that they managed to pull off this sound so well. Really, really great. I'm giving this one a heart. Let's move on to the next track, which is, if it would load, Color. Color. Let's see this. This is a nice intro too. This is a nice intro. Sounds like something off of Undertale, and I love Undertale, so that's good. How cool's this? Time to see how they ruin it. No, I'm joking. Yeah, please excuse me for a second. I'm gonna go get some sticky notes and a pen so I can write down my key points for each song because I keep forgetting them. This is the first stream on the old laptop, so I'll probably sort some things out off stream, see if I can improve on the setup and come more prepared. But for now, this is what we're doing, and hey, you know, it might be good. It might be cozy and more genuine to you guys, and if that's so, then let's just leave it the way it is. Alright. Alright, that was fucking incredible. I have to, I have a lot to say about this track. First of all, a much more subtle lyrical performance, vocal performance here. And I think that pays off quite well because it just brings more attention to the instrumentals and how they haunt and how they build. Reminds me of Undertale quite a lot, but as the track progressed, it reminded me more and more of something off of, say, Vespertine instead. It grows a lot more dreamy, but also a lot more eerie at the same time. And I think where they find that balance is where this track shines. That's like a 10 out of 10. That's okay. This is the new golden standard for this album. If we manage to reach this level of quality again, I'll be incredibly happy because this is definitely a track I'll be revisiting again and again and again. Awesome, awesome work. Love it. Let's see if this gets any better, if possible. So next track is Afterwards, featuring none other than Björk. And then after that we have a Shy Girl feature, which is also cool. And a Sophie feature. I mean, we are getting all the big names in here. Let's listen to Afterwards. Not a single ad. Let's go. Come on. There she is. And she's singing in Spanish. She served. Okay, like realistically, I think it's impossible for me to have anything bad to say about this track. I love the sparse, arpeggiating synths, which are drawn out by more of an atmospheric, layered dream pop sound. Reminded me of Sigur at times, just as haunting as that last track. A very emotional performance by our queen, and very loosely strung. I realised I would probably use that term to describe it. It feels like it's being held together by a couple pieces of gum and tape, which I love. Like it feels like it could fall apart and the entire track could dissolve at any second, and it's that tension which really keeps you interested and keeps you invested. But at the same time, the track itself is quite calming, which contrasts that. And I think it's a very interesting experience. It's a very interesting listen. Um, I'm not going to give it a heart though. I think it's a bit too polished. But besides that, it's great. I know I said it would be impossible for me to have anything negative to say about this track, but it is a bit too polished. But besides that, I really enjoyed that. I would put it on the same level as like track 2 and 3 easily, at least. In fact, um, and that was great. Maybe I'm biased because it has Björk in it, and she is one of my favorite singers. Period. But either way, that was fantastic. Let's move on to track 7. Watch. Looking forward to this one. We are halfway through. Well, that was great. That was great. I feel like I feel like it's pretty hard to give my thoughts on this track. without just reading out a couple of the descriptors I would give it. Industrial, harsh, um, startling, intriguing, and it doesn't contain a single dull moment at all. I think it's quite a well executed track, and it fits well into the context of the album. I love the instrumental. I think that is gloriously fucked up. Again, reminds me of something off of maybe Fosora or Volta. That was great. Next track. Let's get it. I'm enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. I'll be honest. Okay, we got KLK. And this one is the most streamed track. So I have high expectations. Let's see. Oh no, it's a funk track! I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what it says. Alright, we have officially reached well, re-achieved the same level of awesomeness that we had on tracks 4 and 5. I love this song, and I can see why it's the most streamed, but it probably isn't my favorite off of the album. It's probably like my second or third favorite. I have some things to say about it. I love the inclusion of hype pop sounds and funk sounds. I think that it's included really well. Usually those two genres tend to annoy me, but I can really make an exception for it here because it's integrated and pulled off just perfectly. And there really isn't any overpowering element in this track. It's still very punchy and um, it's also very coherent. It's like organized chaos. And I guess what I also love about it is how cutthroat tribal it sounds at times. It really has an emphasis. Each beat feels like a punch to the gut. And that track is one of the highlights of this album for sure. That's a big fat 10 out of 10 on that one. And again, I can certainly see why it's the highest played. But let's move on to Rip the Slit, if that's referring to something else. I'm not a fan of this one. I feel like it's the weakest track so far. And I have my reasons for it if you'll just hear me out. Um, for starters, the vocals are very annoying. And, you know, sometimes, like, I am a big fan of, like, sasscore where the whole point is for the lyrics to be annoying, but at least they're executed with skill and with purpose. I feel like here the lyrics are unintentionally annoying and kind of poorly performed. Um, the track is way too repetitive. It feels like it has too much of a focus on ripping the slit, which gets old very quickly. This track is only 2 minutes and 54 seconds long, but it feels like 5 minutes because all they talk about is ripping the slit. I don't even know what that means yet. I assume it's sexual, which is awesome, but like, surely there are more important things to be talking about than ripping the slit, girl. Well, on a lighter note, I do think that this track is well produced and again organized chaos. It feels very, very well produced, similar to some of the other tracks on this album that I feel are slightly weaker. But I do like the switch up because when you get to the second half of the track, it does switch up a little bit, and that is probably welcome change because I got really tired of the first half pretty quickly. I'm glad it switched up. I kind of like the transition between both halves of the song. I think I could have probably drawn that out a bit longer, as at that point, all of us are probably a bit tired of hearing about ripping the slit and could use a break from it. I'm feeling like a 5.5 out of 10 on that one, which is kind of disappointing because this album has already reached its peak and we're kind of going downhill. I hope not, though. It might just be that song, which is a bit weaker. It does have the least streams, well, second least out of all these tracks, which probably makes sense. But let's hope for the best with this next track with a Sophie feature, La Chiqui. Okay, I have some thoughts already. Let's get this. Alright, let's let these ads play out whilst I talk about this track. I think this is a definite step up from the last track. It takes what that last track failed to do and just does it perfectly. Um, it's it's very breakcore, very instrumentally diverse. It's sort of like ugly beautiful in a way where the true beauty of this track comes from how fucked up it is. It's repetitious, but it's well executed repetition, and I think that it's a great example of where that last track could have went, especially with that bridge, which was quite nice. I love the energy of this track, but at times it might be trying a bit too hard. It might be trying a bit too hard to be loud, but that one was really good. I think it's another highlight of the album. Probably not a heart though. Anyway, let's listen to the next track, Machot. Machot. Alright, that was Machot. Now, my thoughts on this track vary. I have some quite positive thoughts on it and some slightly negative thoughts on it, or rather critiques. We'll start with what I enjoy about this track. I think it's a really beautiful arrangement. Um, all the chords fit very well into each other, and the electronic soundscape that kind of emerges as this track goes on is rather interesting to listen to in isolation. Um, an interesting use of autotune. Usually, I don't like hearing autotune used so explicitly, but I love this. I think it's pulled off quite quite well, and I think that it especially shines in the second half of the track where things start to become more abstract. The outro is fantastic. Reminds me of the track. Was it Time? Which one was it? The outro reminds me of Color, um, and that's really a good thing. Now for what I don't like about it. I feel like it's not that unique in the context of the album, and it feels a bit too commercial. A song being commercial isn't a bad thing, but you want your lead single to be commercial, not this. It feels wrong, and especially being the second to last track, it feels wrong. So that being said, it will not be receiving a heart, but I do still think that there are some great qualities to this track, similar to the last one, in terms of overall quality, I would say. Now, it appears it's time to play the closer, which is significantly longer than the rest of the tracks. So let's all get comfy and listen to this closer together. To all of you watching the VOD, because I have 0 viewers right now. I was I, I'd hear it. I got hiccups, man. Alright, a complete and utter change in what the sound of this album has been like for the past 11 tracks. The atmosphere is overbearing at times. The introduction of drums at the minute mark around then is insanely well done. It uses a length as a strength, considering that the rest of these tracks are rather short. This one stands out. I feel like you can draw parallels to Sigur Rós again, as I said in an earlier track. I love how dreamy it is, how floaty, and how it doesn't feel the need to be any more impressive, and how it maintains this energy throughout the entire track, doesn't fall flat, it's very entertaining. I think it's the perfect closer track that this album could have gotten, and I think that this track is right on the money. I think that this track is beautiful and amazing, and definitely one of the highlights of the album. It gets a heart, it's a 10. It would be unfair to compare it to How to Disappear completely, considering that song is like insane. But this is really good. That's why I'm giving it a heart. So that has been it. That is the entire project. Hey, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Pretty good. Um, Before I give you my final score, I'd like to talk about this album in its entirety, track 1 to track 10. First, we start with Non-Binary, a very interesting opener. I'm gonna recover all my notes. Hold on. Before I go any further, I've forgotten which one's which. Gosh. Whatever. I'll speak from the heart. Fuck scripts. First track, Non-Binary, really solid opener, but I feel like the project hasn't opened up yet. Time and Nepekwatref are both great tracks in their own right and set a standard for the album. And then you have tracks 4 and 5, Rikwi and Kalor, come in, which are just mind-blowing tracks. And the fact that they're right next to each other is just perfect. And I honestly think that that small 6-minute passage is the highlight of this album. Then we move on to Afterwards, which I think doesn't live up to the glory of those past two tracks, but still stands very well. Then we have Watch, which I remember enjoying a fair bit. I think it is pretty damn solid. Then we move on to A.K.A, which is another one of the highlights of this album. I really have had a great time listening to this, and I think that it's a great representation of the sound of this album as a whole. Very easy on the ears and just overall fantastic. And then we have Rip the Slit, which I didn't enjoy very much. In hindsight, I was a bit harsh. I would give it for like a 6 now, because there were definitely some redeeming qualities, and I think that it's really hard to call any track off this album bad, but it definitely is the weakest track. And then we move on to La Chiqui, which is Rip the Slit done properly. Everything that I wanted to see in Rip the Slit but didn't see is here. And everything that I saw, or rather heard, in Rip the Slit and didn't enjoy isn't here, or at least it is here but done properly, done in a different way, one that I can get behind. Then we have Mudshot, which is another very strong track. It doesn't get a heart though, for the same reason as Watch and all these other tracks didn't. It just isn't good enough to get a heart. And then we have the closer, which is real surprising. Also surprising to see that it's the least streamed song, but I think it's fantastic, and a perfect way to close the album. Yes, it is quite a different sound, but you're reminded of their sensibilities to their original sound when the drums roll in, and when everything seems to tie together, you get one conclusive track, conclusive closer to conclude this quite fantastic album. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for Kick 1. Now, I hope you'll join me in the future when we get to listen to some of the other arca albums. First, we're going to listen to Kick 2. Then, once my order arrives, I will listen to Kick 5 on stream, which I've heard is one of the best. So, fingers crossed, all turns out well. For anyone who watched the entire VOD, thank you. And I'm glad I was of entertainment. I'm glad that you may or may not have enjoyed hearing this album, but nonetheless, you were around the entire time, so thank you. On one of these streams, at the very end of like a 2-hour stream one day, I'm going to leak my credit card information so that anyone who watches all the way through gets a reward. No, I won't actually. I very easily could have here though. But anyway, that was the album. 8 out of 10. Thank you everyone for watching. You can see my review for it and my rating and my track rating and all that stuff on Rate Your Music. I will be listening to this one more time in my spare time to get my full thoughts on it, and that will be included in my official review there, because that's where I do all my music stuff. I really don't do anything on YouTube, so I thought this would be a great way to change it. But either way, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you to the whopping 0 people. Anyway, we can all have dreams, but I'll be seeing you guys for the next album reaction, which I can actually tell you what it'll be right now. If you watched all the way through, you get a sneak peek of what the next album reaction, first time reaction, is gonna be. Let me look. Well, I shouldn't do that actually. Wait. No, it's fine. Okay, let's see what's coming up next. Next first time listen will be John Zorn, Naked City. there you go. There you have it. Next, next, next video, and I might start thinking about doing some edited content as well. So let's see how that pans out. But anyway, I've been talking for way too long. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next stream. Tschüss.